Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is PokeTCG Gamer back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over my Week 2 match versus Tone, aka the Maine Red Clawitzers, and his team. I do want to start off by saying that thank you guys for all the support on my Week 1 match for the CPC. Really appreciate that, and I hope I get the same support when MPL Miners returns. Right now, they're in an off-season tournament to try and get the rest of the players that we need. I'm pretty sure right now we only have 4 people, and we need 12 more before the season starts. But there's an off-season tournament of 32 players, and I just want to say, if any of those players are watching this, good luck to all of you. But I'm going to be uploading my the battle and the team builder separate this week, just to see how the response is on that versus when I had them together. And I think it'll be more entertaining for you guys if they're in separate videos, because I won't be rushing my thoughts in the team builder, and I'll really be able to explain everything that I did with the team. But I do want to quickly say before I start this battle, I did mention this in the team builder as well, but I did drop Mega Gyarados and Escavalier for Mega Sceptile and Grand Bull, and this battle is going to be uploaded on Monday, which is the day after New Year's. The day after New Year's. So on Tuesday, I'm going to be uploading a video just explaining the waivers and why I made them and stuff like that. But just looking at this team matchup, I'm going to be quickly going over the team, but if you want to see a more in-depth explanation, definitely go check out my team builder. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But looking at his team, he brought Lucario, Milotic, Zapdos, Azumarill, Nidoking, and Hitmontop. And right off the bat, this was mostly what I expected, but I really thought that he was going to bring the Licky somewhere. I thought that the Hitmontop and the Milotic were going to stay home for the Licky and the Latias over those two, because he had Zapdos for Defog. I didn't think that spinning Hitmontop. I didn't really think Hitmontop had the best matchup, but anyways, so I did expect those two, but thankfully Licky and Latias didn't come. Latias actually scared me a lot when prepping. I actually had Excadrill over Alolan Muck at first, but I realized that a Life Orb Latias just wrecked my current build, so I added Alolan Muck on there. And then Licky is, I thought he was going to bring as a possible Kyurem Black switch in, but he did not do that, as Kyurem Black is, let's just start off going with a quick overview. Kyurem Black is a Life Orb attacker with Roost, Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, and Earth Power. Just looking at the matchup, it hits everything so hard. It 2-hit kills his entire team with those 3 coverage moves. Alakazam is a Sash Revenge Killer. It helps me check possible SD Lucario or Scarf Nidoking late game if I still have my Sash intact. I have Psychic, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, and Encore. And Encore helps me versus things like the Zapdos and the Milotic, where I can Encore them into Roost and then hit his team really hard with a Psychic, as he does not have a resistance to that. Next we have Alolan Muck, which is pretty much it's max attack, max HP, with 8 in Spadef, and actually a boosting Spadef nature because I didn't think I needed the Adamant. With Rest Hawk, Pursuit, and Knockoff, so I am walled by the Lucario, which is a pretty big threat, but between my Alakazam, my Keldeo, and my Golurk, I think I can deal pretty well with the Lucario. Next we have a Colbur Berry Golurk to help with the Lucario if it has like SD Crunch. And the Golurk this is a rocker this week. I did have rocks on Excadrill, but like I said, took that off. And it has, we have Iron Fist with Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, and EQ, along with the rocks. And, for EV spreads, guys, you just definitely go check out the team builder. But, next we have Tentacruel, with, Rapid Spin, Scald, Acid Spray, and Sludge Bomb. Acid Spray helps me deal with the Milotic, and Tentacruel is basically my only, Azumarill switch-in. It cannot 2-hit kill me with Knockoff after it knocks off my item. Or actually, it might be able to. I forgot the roll, but I do go over that in my team builder. So we have that Tentacruel basically there to switch into the Azumarill. Not really his Lucario, because that I was really expecting that to have Earthquake. And lastly, we have this Keldeo, which is a very interesting set with Toxic, Protect, Scald, and Secret Sword. Helped me a lot to check the Nidoking and the Lucario. Counters the Mega Houndoom, which did not come, which is also something to point out. And then Toxic's his main 2 checks in Azumarill and Latias. And it can protect us to scout for moves and stuff like that. So, I think we are ready to get into the battle. So, we start off here with our Kyurem versus the Nidoking. And right off the bat, I did some calcs, and I basically saw that Ice Beam didn't really have a drawback. Because if I Ice Beam this, then it dies unless it has a Focus Sash. Ice Beam would chip the Milotic and not put it into Fusion Bolt range, but put it into a range where it's pretty much going to die. Ice Beam will Oko the Zapdos, it'll do a lot to the Hitmontop, and Ice Beam into Fusion Bolt Okos the Azumarill. So Ice Beam was pretty much a non-drawback play here, as I just click it, and he actually does turn out to be Sash, which is why I mentioned it. But, he does Earth Power here, doing a clean 43%, and, looking at the team preview, I did realize that Nidoking was his only rocker, but I kind of expected a Stealth Rock set with a Life Orb because I did not have a switch into that on my entire team. So he does fire off the Earth Power, and right here I do predict him to switch out into possibly his Milotic or his Azumarill. So I just fire off a Roost here, or just Roost Up, as he does go into the Azumarill, and as I do Roost Up, and if I did Ice Beam, I would have gotten some details on his set a bit, and possibly found out if he was max HP, and to see if Fusion Bolt would KO. But I did Roost, so I do keep my Kyurem at a nice amount of health. So I do switch out right here into my Tentacruel, my dedicated switch into this, as he does this fire off a Play Rough, and right there, that reveals to me that he is not banded at all. That damage reveals that he is a non-boosting item, so he's not like Pixie Plate or something like that. But he could still possibly be Belly Drum, so I have to keep that in mind and keep my Tentacruel and Kyurem Black as healthy as possible, so they can both take Aqua Jets and knock them out with Sludge Bomb and Fusion Bolt respectively. But right here, I'm pretty sure I just fire off an Acid Spray, as keeping in mind that this Azumarill could it could possibly be like a Z move, maybe even Z Belly Drum. But all I knew from that is that it was a non-boosting item from that Play Rough. So right here he goes into his Zapdos, as I just fire off possibly a Sludge Bomb. As if the Lucario came out, I knew that Golurk would take any one hit. And if he went for Crunch, that would have been pretty bad if he was like Life Orb Crunch, but I knew that if he went into Lucario on the Sludge Bomb, I could still go into Golurk. But right here goes into his Zapdos, so I'm gonna just go hard into my Golurk, predicting possibly a Volt Switch, but he does make a nice double into his Milotic, getting off his Flame Orb, and during the game I noted, as soon as I saw the Flame Orb, I was like, okay, when I get up rocks, every time this comes in, it's going to be taking rocks and going to be taking burn and whatever hits, which is into, and it doesn't have any residual recovery, so that's very nice. But the burn, it does help. It takes hits better from Keldeo and Golurk and stuff like that, and Muck, so that's nice. But he does the switch out after he gets that burn, or after he gets the Flame Orb. But he does double into his Azumarill here, and I'm not sure exactly what he was predicting. He could have been predicting my Keldeo maybe, or possibly my Muck. I'm not too sure, or even my Kyurem Black. But I do just pull a switch into my Tentacruel, as it took nothing from a Milotic Scald or anything. So right here, I'm just gonna fire off an Acid Spray, or a Sludge, or I throw off a Scald just in case this Lucario wants to come in. So right here, I just throw off an Acid Spray, as I can drop his special defense, and he does reveal. I actually didn't find out what that hidden power was. I was guessing hidden power electric. It could have been HP ground. Hidden power ground. It did make a bit of sense versus my team, but it could have been either one of those. As that it does nothing, so I still have my Tentacle at a good amount of health for the Azumarill, as he just goes into his Zapdos right here on a Sludge Bomb, and he does not get poisoned, luckily for him. But I'm just gonna pull the same switch right here into my Golurk, as his Zapdos is roost up. He wants to keep this as healthy as possible, which makes sense. But now I get to get up my rocks, and in hindsight, I should have just fired off an Ice Punch, because the Nidoking was pretty obvious on my rocks, but I didn't want to Ice Punch and then have the Milotic come in and I don't have rocks up. But he does make the nice landed Nidoking on my rocks. So right here, I was predicting either an Ice Beam to weaken my Golurk for his Lucario, or his own Stealth Rock. So I just go into my Kieran Black as pretty much no drawback, as I get in before the rocks too, which is nice. And now he reveals the Sucker Punch, which I kind of figured he'd have for the Alakazam, as now I just go for the Ice Beam and pick up my first kill of the match with Kieran Black. So now he's going to go into his Lucario, and right here I just make a mental note to myself that if he's going to bring this in right now, he's either Sugar Berry to take an Earth Power, or he is Choice Scarf. So keeping that in mind, I switch right into my Golurk, as if he goes for close combat and he's Scarf, he'll have to switch out, or even if he's Shook and goes for close combat, he'll have to switch out. So he does make a nice play going for Earthquake, as you guys are going to see later that my team is pretty Earthquake weak. Like, I don't have much to combat that. I have Gliscopod, but Gliscopod is not taking like +2 anything from this Lucario, or it does, but it gets forced out due to its emergency exit. And obviously, it's not taking anything from a Nidoking, so I might try to fix my ground weakness in a later waiver. I'm not too sure yet, but either way, we have our Golurk in, and we can fire off an Earthquake pretty safely, as we can hit the Zapdos with an Ice Punch if it decides to switch in. But right here, I'm going to go for the Earthquake, as he reveals to be an offensive Hitmontop, which is pretty great for me, as I get off 45% on that Hitmontop, which is great. That's after an Intimidate too, so I run some calcs, and I find out that he is definitely, he's probably Adamant, he's probably max attack, and he has some HP investment, but he's not max HP. So that's what I find out from that, as I just fire off another EQ, and he fires off his own EQ right there. So my Golurk is now severely weakened, and I can't do much about that. So now Zapdos can Volt Switch around pretty freely if this dies, and Lucario can spam close combat as well. But right here I did a calc, and Adamant 250, or actually this Earthquake damage also did reveal that he was 252 Adamant, or at least Adamant with a lot of attack investment. But I did a calc, and with my Clover Berry, the Sucker Punch roll is 21 to 24 from this Hitmontop, so I could freely stay in. And unless he gets a max roll, I will live. Excuse me. But I do Ice Punch here, just in case the Zapdos wanted to come in. So that dies, and now he brings in his Lucario, and I do not have a switch into this really. And I forgot, I do just sack it off. I was considering going into my Keldeo, but I still didn't know if he was Scarf or not. I just didn't want to risk anything right there, and I felt I could sack off Golurk and still be okay for the match. So now I just go into my Keldeo here, as I did really want to double, but just on the off chance he close combated, I couldn't really risk it. So right here I go for the Secret Sword. I'll bring this Milotic down pretty low, and pretty much forcing his Milotic to recover, which is very nice. And playing off of that, I just go right into my Alakazam, and with the Encore, I am able to lock this thing into recover if it stays in, and if it does, I get to fire off a nice Psychic versus anything on his team. So right here, I do go for the Encore. I did want to go for Psychic, like predicting him to switch out and scouting for the Encore, but he does not do that, luckily, and I do get the Encore off, forcing him to switch out. And he does go into his Azumarill here on the Psychic, and you guys will see right now, he takes 31%, revealing that he is he's pretty much the standard Assault Vest set. I'm not sure how much HP and Spadef he had, but I did learn information from that he was Assault Vest, so he has no way of recovering any health. So this Azumarill, if it switches out, it's going to be below half next time it comes in, which is it's good to know. So I do keep my Alakazam Sash intact if I need it for the Lucario later, as right here he does fire off a knockoff, and it's kind of bad as my Tentacruel is very low now, but it can still take an Aqua Jet if it does need to later. As right here I take my opportunity to spin away these rocks and free up Kieran Black a little bit more, as we do get the spin off on the Zapdos, as it's going to get back up to 80% with the leftovers. So right here, I was considering a couple things in my mind. I was considering Muck as a possible play, and Kieran Black as a possible play, and I ended up going into Kieran Black right here, which was a really big risk for me, because he does fire off a discharge, which has a 30% chance to para, and luckily for me, it did not paralyze me. If that did, I would have had a lot tougher time this game, finishing it off. So that was pretty much the only misplay I think I made this match, not scouting for the discharge and going into, say, Muck. But luckily I do not get parried, and I think I may fire off an Ice Beam here. Or Roost, but I did fire off the Ice Beam because I felt that I could afford to just not Roost up with my Kieran Black, as I do just go for the Fusion Bolt, and luckily Terravolt ignores Milotic's Marvel Scale, so that Burn Milotic does not matter, as I just OHKO that, or I do 55, and the roll was actually, like, it was in the 60s, 70s, so there was no chance I wasn't killing this thing, even if it was max with its HP defense. But I do pick up the kill, and Kieran Black gets the second kill of the game. So right here, he goes back into his Lucario, and I'm still in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is either Scarf or it's Sugarberry. So I just pull a switch into my Keldeo, and if he goes for close combat and outspeeds me the next turn, I know that he's Scarf, and I can go into my Alakazam and click Psychic. But right here, he does switch out into his Zapdos, so that reveals to me that he, or that's like a 99% chance that he is not Choice Scarf, because I don't know why he would switch out if he was. There's pretty much no reason at all. But pretty much I'm able to keep my Keldeo. I go into my lone Muck on the discharge, so now I know that Kieran Black is not the safest play, so I really need to get my Kieran Black in cleanly so I can 1v1 the Zapdos. Or, I mean, not 1v1, just kill it off with an Ice Beam. So right here I just go for the knockoff as he goes for another discharge, as I think I just fire off another knockoff. And I do, and I get a crit, poison, which is very nice for me. And right here, I knew that he was gonna Roost, as he if he did not Roost, then he would die if he switched out or if he stayed in for another knockoff. So I go into my Kieran Black, as he could have fired off a discharge there, and that would have been a good play, but he does fire off the Roost. So now I'm free to click Ice Beam, because if he goes into his Azumarill, Aqua Jet will not kill me from 26, and I can fire off a Fusion Bolt. So now Kieran Black gets his third kill of the match, and it's starting to get to the end of the game where I don't really need my Kieran Black, as I can kill the Azumarill with the combination of my last 4 members. But he just go into this, and I'm gonna fire off an Earth Power, and as you guys are gonna see, I get a crit through the Sugarberry and kill off his Lucario. And that was very unfortunate right there. Even without the crit, it would have brought him down to about below 20%, which would have put him in range of my Keldeo. So I would have went into Keldeo, click Secret Sword, and killed off his Lucario. And from there, I could just click Secret Sword in the Azumarill, and then let it die, and then go into my Tentacruel or my Alakazam and finish off the game. So without that crit, it would have made it a 3-0. Most likely it would have made it a 3-0 instead of a 4-0, which you guys are going to see I'm going to get. But we do kill that off, get our 4th kill, and right now we are going to get he's going to Jet, and it's only going to do 12%, and that's even minus defense nature. I went minus defense because I wanted to keep my Spidef as high as I could for the Nidoking. But we just fire off a Fusion Bolt, and we do die to Life Orb, but we do pick up our 5th kill before we die, and that is a nice 4-0 win for the Dallas Starmies. So yeah, definitely check out the team builder if you guys want to see the team more in depth. I think it really worked out well this week, but I'm very scared to face Tone in the next match, because he has a lot of threatening sets and Pokemon that he did not even bring this week, which is that's just even more scary, that I had such a tough time prepping for his team the first time around, and I still have to play him one more time. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this game. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.